know what I mean, the God's earth, Al Shakur's earth, she goes to pick up the seeds from school and shit. So, we all blazing in the garage and shit. You know what I mean? The equality good. The one guy, he had his equality, and the other guy had his equality, and they had these different strains and shit. It was good. It was different type of equality, but, we all rolled it in Dutch or whatnot, and shit was, it was mad peace. So, um, the equality is good as shit. So, what I mean? I guess the fucking building the shit, and the guy from the guy our Pablo, he quiet, he doing the Nas, and we all just really doing the Nas and just building, getting to know each other, right? You know what I mean? So I told the guy I was gonna take him and his queen home, and they don't live in this small town. They live in a town that's adjoining. It's in this town called Fairborn and shit. I rest in this place called Xenia. So leaving, this gets more fucking interesting. So they said, yo, the guy, the young boy Raheem says, yo, man, I want to pick up my girlfriend. And Raheem, he only now is born and shit. He young and shit. You know what I mean? And I'm like, peace, because his queen lived near, the young guard's queen lived near where Al Shakur rests. So he was like, yo, I want to take my queen back to my rest. I said, all right. I said, what's your queen's name? He's like Goddess. I said, what? Goddess. He said, where was he born? He said, I said, that's her real name. He said, like Goddess. I said, oh shit. Fuck. I said, Goddess? Now hold on. What happens here is his name is Raheem, right? And his queen's name is Goddess. And what happens is Goddess is knowledge God years old, right? She actually turns knowledge bill on the knowledge God day of this born month, right? So I'm like, fuck, man. So I'm tripping off the wisdom name because what happens is it jogs a memory deep inside of me. I hustled in this town in the early born ciphers. This was like my headquarters for other places, Columbus, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Dayton, the whole shit. This is where I was getting cream at. Word is born on the understanding tip and shit. And so one day, early in those born ciphers, back then it was a lot, jewelry was fashionable and shit. I had the fucking link, the ring, just fly shit. I had the Audi 5000. That was the hot whip back then and shit. And so I goes into this supermarket. And the supermarket I go into, right, it's this supermarket called Foamers. There's this beautiful little girl in she's in she has to be like wisdom years old, and she's in like on the carts. They have places where like a baby seat and shit. She's in the cart and shit, and her mom is talking to her. They looking for food and shit. And so what happens is I was like, peace. I said, oh, she's beautiful. What's her name? And the mom says, Goddess. I'm like, what the fuck? And then the little girl's like, Goddess. I was like, oh shit. I said, Goddess. And then I called the other guards that was in the sea room. I said, God, come in here. It's this little earth named Goddess, man. You got the trip. She was like this beautiful little earth and shit. Little beautiful little moon. Goddess and shit. So this was like knowledge power years ago. So now I'm taking Raheem, and back then I was not Emblem, I was Raheem. So now I'm taking this Raheem, the young guy that's in the back of my car. That's the guy I met. That's our Power's brother. Listen to me, right? And we're going to pick up his girlfriend. And remember, our Power has his colored woman with him. So I got a full deck, and the Explorer and shit. And so we go pick up Goddess. And first of all, I'm high than a motherfucker, right? The equality good as shit, and my thoughts is right. So the colored woman going to pick up Goddess because she's cool with Goddess. Colored woman is like knowledge born years old. So I'm like, I'm building with the gods on like Black Mind, Matter, Mind, self-creation, Allah coming out of 3 stages of darkness, everything. The equality just really got me in that place. You know what I mean? When I'm just coming out of 3 stages of darkness. The God that was just got out of the justice, our power, he was like, dang, they don't even feel like that up there, God. He was like, peace, peace. You know, so I'm taking the God up there, you know what I mean, as far as 3 stages of darkness, the black mind, uh, you know, and I'm not gonna say intangible, but just the pure energetic mind of Allah in darkness. You know what I mean? Without identity. You know what I mean? We up there in see a lot of rule while the colored woman going to get the goddess, right? So I'm taking him through the alphabets. The young God Raheem. I'm taking him through it because you know, even though our power, his older brother, he build with him like real slow. You know, he say, you know, he called it giving to God what he could handle. But I just come and I'm just giving him like, yo, how you Allah? Ain't no mystery, God, son. This is where I'm taking the God. You know, I'm building with him like that, and you know, so it's mad peace, and his name is Raheem. So I said, man, do you know they say our name, you know, Raheem, because that's my name, even though I said I gave them all born Cypher Kings. It wasn't like I was gonna charge them. Everybody in the CLI who got a free born Cypher King and shit. So but I was like, yo, you know they say our name like power billion times a day. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I was just telling them. I was like, you know, so could you imagine hearing that type of chant every day? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I said every day, every Sunni throughout the world, say that name power times a day. And this was on the power day. You know what I mean? This is the power day of the born month. You know, so I'm building with the God Rahim on this shit. And then, you know, his queen and the color woman come out. Goddess and the color woman, they come out the rest and shit. And I was like, damn, that's her. But she was knowledge power years older, because I had to see her when she was about probably wisdom years old in a carriage, you know, and she grew up to be like this beautiful goddess and shit, literally. I'm like, Raheem, I was like, that's your Wiz? He's like, yeah. I was like, oh my God. Like, and this was the queen that was named Goddess and shit that I met when she was like wisdom years old and shit. You know what I mean? When I was hustling and all that shit. So I said, you know, no matter what, you know, when these wisdoms get in, they was kind of like, you know, got on some other type math, but I ain't let the current of air change. You know what I mean? And I was like, I told the little girl Goddess, I said, yo, you know, I saw you. I said, because it had to be, yo, how many goddesses are there? You acknowledge me in this small ass town. So I said, yo, you know, I said, how old are you? And she told me, and I said, yeah. I said, do you know I saw you approximately knowledge power years ago? And shit, knowledge equality years ago, and your name, and you know, you had a whole cipher of gods tripping off your name. You know what I mean? And I said, you know, and then, you know, the queen opens up. This is what the queen tells me. She, you know, she was like, wow. She's like, that's something. You know what I mean? And I'm just, you know, the math is crazy. First, I meet a god in this rural ass area, and then I meet his brother Raheem, and his brother Raheem is with this little queen named Goddess and shit. So it was like the Quranic serendipity was off the fucking meter. You know what I mean? Just on that. I ain't see it as no coincidence, because I just wanted to go in that computer system center just to post a real quick blog and shit, because I was having problems with my own shit. And so for that shit to happen, I was like, you know, and then we was already blazed up, and I told the God I was gonna take him to his rest in Fairborn and shit. Keep in mind, I gotta explore and shit. So the God said he's gonna give me God of Law Savior on, and he put the God of Law Savior in Square Law Now King and shit. All right, so we good. But the thing is, hold on now. This story gets even more interesting. They live in this place called Fairborn. See, I'm the type of cat, I don't stay on backcountry winding roads. I stay on the fucking highway when I get down. So we on the motherfucking highway and shit, and then we turn on to the fucking back roads. I said, listen, one of y'all gonna have to draw me a motherfucking map, cause the screen on my GPS is broke and shit. You feel me? So you know, it was a long ass road, and it was a lot to think about. But one of the things that I was thinking about was just the entire rhythm of the situation in the cipher, and I was what it made me think about even on a deeper level was I was building with the God Supreme Victory, and I said, man, I said that is deep because I was building with the God Raheem, and I was telling him, I said, yo, that's your queen, you gotta make her knowledge God. You feel me? I said, yo, you gotta make her knowledge God, and it just felt weird building with people that young and shit, just on like the real fundamentals of that shit. And they asked me about two numbers and shit. Somehow we got from knowledge God, which was the 17th letter in the alphabet queen, and then we got the knowledge born, which is self savior. So I was building with them on self savior, and then it was like I saw like knowledge God and knowledge born with the 2 million Indians making it 19 million. I went straight to the understanding degree and the knowledge and knowledge cipher and shit. So, it's just all of this math that's just in my head, just like, like bing, 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 bing. And plus, I'm Blaze. I'm still motherfucking Blaze because the fucking equality was just, that peace. But one of the things me and the God Supreme Victory was building on was goddess and shit. He's like, and we were just talking about that, because I was telling him how the God Dean feel about that shit. God Dean, he got 2 daughters and shit. And it don't really bother that God to deal with the science of goddess. And to me, it's not something that I concern myself with as far as tripping about. My main focal point is, because I kicked it with this queen named Kefarai, who just straight out called consider queen, and that's just what it is. And she was like, I'm a goddess. And I mean, as God, I was like, well, I was on some, it just, not to say chauvinistic shit, but I wasn't gonna sit there and try to beat her down with no education either. Like, like the black man is God, the black man is God, and like if this queen feels that way and she is goddess, who am I to fucking, try to beat her over the head with a black man's education on that type of shit? I personally deal with the science, if I meet a queen on earth, that's what it is. Goddess. That's why I was so weird today, because I met a queen and her legal name was Goddess, and as we drive and she's in the back seat with the young guy Raheem and shit, and she starts talking about what she learned in school, and she said one of the things she learned in school was about Anglo-Saxon languages and the differences in language, what has Latin origin, and I'm like, how old are you? She's like, knowledge God. And she was just talking about the etymology of fucking words and shit. And so her name is Goddess. And the shit was just fucking me up. It threw me for a real tornado the whole fucking day. And it was like a day where it's like, I kind of like just went with the unknown, not so much embraced it. I did embrace it at a certain point, because I took them like wisdom cipher miles from my rest and shit. You know what I mean? And but it was worth the trip, and it was worth the adventure. And it's kind of like, I couldn't make that type of shit up. I was about to write on that shit, but I was like, you can't really make this type of shit up. So fuck that shit. I mean, I just spit that shit to how that shit just came and shit. It is what it is. Shit, I met a fucking chick named Goddess today. Ain't that a motherfucker? And a young dude named Raheem, and another motherfucking God named Our Power, and all in the same motherfucking day, man. So mathematics is the shit. All that really goes along with the letter that true Taliba Raya Earth wrote me. That shit that just started my day or made my day better. And I'm glad that queen is enjoying the Born Cypher King, and I wish her well in her pursuits of knowledge and 120 and taking it on the seal of power. But that's what I had to say today. I'm rambling now, but peace.
We've only just
Oh yes, indeed. I like this.